I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my channel, Ride with Matilda. I'm very glad to have you join me on my channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Today we're going to explore the world of a well-known author who wrote under the pen name of George Orwell. He has written several books. In today's episode, we're going to discuss part 2, chapter 7, and 7 is like a V and then it's II, in a book club format. I expect you have read this chapter before watching this video. The version I read is published by VII Classics, later, when she said she loved him, then but he did confess him. But all those kinds of thoughts are just like, does not make him a sympathetic character for me, does not make me like him. Okay. Again, we're supposed to be building to hate week, but the story didn't mention it in the last two chapters. Yes, it was a month or so away. I think it was a month or so away the last time we heard about it, or the last time the book mentioned it. But now that huge event is fading from the forefront as we continue, and as George Orwell continues to weave his story. It's like, okay, what happened to it? Now, in this environment, I think dreams and memories are suppressed. And it is probably good for Winston that he woke up in the room with no telescreen. If he had been at home, the telescreen may have picked up his tears. Thought crime. Maybe I've been too dark, and the telescreen wouldn't have picked it up. But now, I read, and I can't find it again. Although I do have the book, I can't flip back. I couldn't find it again, but I read that Winston hadn't been drinking the gin, and his varicose veins didn't hurt as much. And they've mentioned his veins and his coughing and the gin, and I'm not sure how that's interrelated to things. Maybe it's just part of Winston's evolving character. So I don't know. I couldn't find it, but anyway, that was in there. Leave a comment on if you have vivid dreams, and if you can figure out what they mean or what they're trying to tell you. Leave a comment on how Julia is just resolved that they live, and they will be caught and tortured, and that's just how it is. Leave a comment on how Winston feels that he murdered his mother even though he didn't do it physically. Do you think it was his greed and his insubordination? Do you think it was his selfishness? Do you think that the mother knew it was coming and she just didn't fight it? And she knew she was going to be put to a labor camp or whatever, or disappeared, and she just didn't fight it? Leave a comment on how well you share things. Not necessarily your memories or whatever, but chocolate. When my sister and I were younger, we would each get a small bag of chips. I would eat mine right away that day, and she would save hers. Then I would want her to divide her chips between us when she was eating hers a day or so later. It was bad, so I can't really judge Winston too badly, but we were supposed to share everything, and so we each got the bag of chips. I ate mine. My fault she didn't eat hers. So when she was eating hers, we're supposed to share everything. Yeah, I was bad. I was greedy. Also, leave a comment on if you would quit the relationship or just write it out until you were caught. The relationship with Winston. And if you would do it, and then if you would write about it as your characters, and if you would have your characters do it. I hope you enjoyed part 2, chapter 7, or chapter VII of 1984. Make sure you leave your comments. Feel free to disagree with my thoughts. My thoughts are just that, mine. My thoughts come from my perspective, my upbringing, my family, my friends, all of that. Not from an education in English literature. Remember, reading is good for writers. It helps us to see how other people create their world. So, read part 2, chapter 8, edition. Join me Friday for lentils. Join me Tuesday for imaginate our stories and what levels and degrees we want to be to these things. So many words, so many ideas. Our next book club book for us to read together will most likely